Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of 51 Stories of Emotional Wellbeing with Emotional Ability Resources. Today, I have with me Swati Arya, who works as a project engineer. She's been a civil engineering specialist for over 22 years. Welcome to my show, Swati. It's so wonderful to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Pragati. It's always pleasure talking to you, and this is an amazing thing which you're doing. I'm really proud to be and happy to be a part of this series.
Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about your childhood. What was it like? Any struggles that you faced and
Uh,
you overpowered them?
so, journey to journey for my childhood has been kind of pretty systematic, straight. The path has been charted in a way. So, I come from a middle class family, and I've been born and brought up in Delhi throughout my life. I've been here. And coming from a middle class family, we have the virtue, the greatest virtue as per our parents, is the education,
Mhm.
and that has been throughout the life. So I went to a convent school here, and after that I went to Delhi College of Engineering,
Mhm.
and that was it. So I had a pretty nice childhood. It was nice and healthy, happy family with nice, very good friends. So it was very nice, very good.
Any challenges that you face? I mean, it's really nice, but as we know, that all roses have thorns, and sometimes everything is great, but we struggle to
Yeah.
cope up. So anything that comes to your mind which seemed very difficult, which now in retrospect you feel, oh, it was no big deal, I managed.
Yeah. So, I would would not kind of take it to my childhood days. It's more toward my, which is more fresh, and which is more towards my career path. So we all have kind of stresses in our everyday life, right? There are many occasions when they overpower you, and you kind of I'm pretty sure pretty much everybody who is a career person goes through this phase of insomnias and irritability, and I have also encountered it many a times. But there's one particular scenario wherein it was really hard for me to handle. The whole system was becoming too toxic. I had started taking antidepressant due to very toxic work culture. Try to change it, I try to change myself, but then I found it was kind of beyond my capacity to do that.
Mhm.
So just there are times when you cannot clean all the toxicity. So I decided to walk away. It was a tough call. It was a difficult choice, but I think uh, when you have to know when the battle is not worth fighting. It's taking a total toll on you. So I decided to walk away, and guess what? Just when the caterpillar thinks that the world has ended, it turns into a butterfly. So a whole new world was waiting for me, and I do not regret my decision. And I think that was the best decision I made.
I think that's so awesome, because a lot of times, especially when we talk about emotional well-being, a lot of people put up with toxicity in the hope that this is what comes with the work terrain.
Yeah. No, even in personal relationships, I've found that people stick to the lie because they thought that the other person may change or the other side would change. But the best thing to do at times is to just walk away.
Mhm.
It's better.
Mhm. Oh, very, very right. And probably sometimes I've seen the only emotional ability resource that one needs is courage. Courage to
Correct.
just try something new.
Yeah.
And that begins an exciting journey of its own, that we never had thought imaginable. So,
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah.
That's
Correct.
so wonderful.
Yeah.
Anything else that you feel, that will inspire our viewers and something that you want to talk about, some incidents where you have really come out with your own emotional strength and your emotional building resources? We would love to know.
Yes, so there was one. I mean, there were. I think almost everybody has gone through these COVID times. Almost everybody has faced it, wherein it has dramatically changed most of us. There were so many things going on: work from home, transition. It was just mentally transitioning. There was absolutely no work-life balance. Work was getting into your personal space. then losing the people you knew, you just heard. There were horrifying stories, the helplessness. So this was a very, very stressful time for most of us, right? And again, this was also developing a lot of toxicity. I realized that, either we can just spend this time, and then there were good part of it. There's a silver lining. We had our friends, we have families, at least we were staying put. This is the maximum time I had spent with my kids. So I realized that either we can, just spend time with the physical proximity, all our loved ones, or what we can just splurge away complaining about the whole situation and how is it messed away the life. So I am not saying that shutting yourself was the right thing to do, but I think I did again shut myself off from this toxic situation. It was not helping. But because, there are times when, I'll just put it in Rumi's word, the art of knowing is knowing when to ignore. When to ignore that makes you fearful and sad. So that's another. Uh, I don't really believe in running away, but this is another episode which just came to my mind, wherein I had overcome the and realized that the power of nature is much beyond our control, and we need to ignore that and come out and try to find good things. So that is a time when my family became my greatest strength. We were staying together. It was the best time I feel that I had spent with them. Though the quantity was still less, but again, we were there for them, at least physically present. That was also an important part, a very, very important part.
No, very, very true. Like, in times of crisis only, we realize the value of certain things that we take for granted. And,
Agreed.
sometimes family is something which most of us take for granted, but we don't
Yeah.
realize how much they can contribute to our sense of
Yes.
basic grounding.
Basic grounding. And so, having said that, I haven't stayed in home for, like, 6 months was the maximum time during my maternity leave, and you know how the maternity period goes. So it was near really not the time spent with the family, but this was the time wherein we'd actually given
Mhm,
given some space to our kids and seen them grow.
mhm.
2 years was a good enough time. We've really seen them grow.
So, any emotional ability resources that you identified, in yourself that helped you cope up with the day-to-day challenges that the last 2 years brought in your life?
Yeah. Again, I'm not sure I'm pretty much there yet. There are a lot of times when I still lose it, but I think I've come a long way from where I had started from, where I used to, when I used to lose my anger in a fraction of a second. But so I just what helped me was meditation. That is one thing I pursued. So that kind of helped me in overcoming this stressful situation. I also like walks. To go, not during the COVID times, but I still, there are a lot of stressful situations still in our lives. So I go for long walks. I love to socialize. I like to have friends and families over. I go and meet them. So that's another part which I really enjoy, which actually helps you bust that stressful bubble of yours. It just takes you away from your routine. So that's another way to deal with the stressful situation which I follow. And then, of course, as I said, the biggest strength is my family, which every time they help me overcome every obstacle which I come across.
That's so wonderful, simple but effective if we just are mindful about it. Very, very well said. So, who has been your role model?
Uh, I don't believe in, I mean, I personally don't have one role model,
Mhm,
but there are different things I take from different people. Like, I have people in my organization whom I really admire, who I really see the way how passionate they are about their work. And I really admire those people. And from my work front, I consider them as my role model. And I have a lot of my close friends who are deep into meditation and spirituality. That they are, in a way, role model to me when it comes to having meditation or stressful situation, which is really good again. And on personal front, it's my husband. When I look at him, he's a really emotionally comfortable at ease person, which I really admire that quality in him. So different people from different walk of life, which qualities I
I
admire
guess,
together.
what we are really benefiting from is just knowing that there is something to learn from everybody, provided we are being
Correct.
mindful of it, So,
Yes, yes. Just
thank
being
you for that.
aware of
Yes.
people around you and what you
Yeah.
like and what you want others,
Yeah.
or what you want to imbibe.
Very, very true. And these are things which we tend to take for granted. No,
Agreed.
okay, no big deal. But if we just are a little mindful about it, I at least have seen that that's what contributes to the emotional well-being up to a large extent.
Yes. So when it comes to emotional well-being, if you can connect with the people close to you rather than looking far away. I personally feel that's much more helpful.
So, any mental health struggles or any issues that you want to talk about that specifically you feel you've overcome?
So as I said before, it was mainly work related. It was the stress, and what helped me was the long walks and meditations. At times, even listening to music really helps you calm down. So these are the things which, and there were one or two episodes wherein I had, and the only way I could perceive handling the situation was walking out of it, walking out of a toxic relationship or toxic situation, toxic people. So there is no way you can change everybody, as like, so as I said yesterday, I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Now I'm smart, so I'm changing myself.
Yes. That's really a smart one. So, if you had one word to describe Swati in, what word would you use and why?
One word to describe me was a learner.
Uh-huh.
I truly believe that wherever we are,
Mhm.
this is one life where we should pick things. I'm not saying that technical learning, there is so much to learn from people, so much to learn about environment, so much to learn about so many things in the world. So that is one word I would like to describe myself. Just keep learning, and I do that. I do that a lot.
Fantastic. So, you had spoken specifically about toxicity at work, and how it contributes to debilitated emotional well being. Can you help our viewers identify specific signs, that you feel that shows that, yes, this situation is toxic? That in your experience, you feel, you
Yeah,
identified.
yeah. So I think one is, if you see that it is not a, a work intended observation or the comment which your supervisor or the people around you are giving, it's more a person intended.
Mhm,
If you see the discrimination happening,
mhm,
if you see that someone is being specifically pointing things at a specific person,
mhm,
and it is not again due to if let's say somebody's some so it's like bullying. If somebody's trying to bully you, somebody tries to say that or not even ready to listen or give the other person's opinion, and just imposing other person with their views or their uh, observations, or becoming too loud, too aggressive. I think that's the time when either you have to say tell the person to stop, because I learned it the hard way, right? So either you tell the person to stop, and if still the person is not listening, and the person may be in a powerful position which you cannot change, so that's another way. Like, you can look for other avenues, you can look to talk to other people as to how to come out of that problem. So I personally feel that it needs to be you have to identify these signs. You have to identify the fact that are you being specifically pointed out,
mhm,
cornered, sidelined,
mhm,
or being bullied at.
mhm.
even the person gets a little aggressive. There are times that the other person could get a little aggressive. So you have to put a stop to that.
Mhm. I kind of like that, because a lot of times people are not even sure what's toxic. So to really have it
Yeah.
listed out the way you have, because sometimes it's culture specific also. People just take it, that, oh, in job scenarios, these things are bound to happen, get a little thick skin. But if it doesn't feel right, means it's just not okay for your system, beyond a point, it's not adjustment, right?
You see, if you can get thick-skinned, I mean, if you can ignore, and if you think it's okay, it's okay. You have to take that judgment call. But uh, there are a lot of times when you come back, you're stressed out, not because of the work content, it's because of the people.
Mhm.
That's the time when you realize that situation is toxic. Situation is, it's not because things are not in your control. Then somebody else is trying to control your emotion or your state of affairs. So that's the time when you have to realize that it needs to stop.
So, how did you specifically deal with it, before you took the decision to walk away every day? How did you deal with it?
It was stressful. It was really stressful. As I said, I was taking antidepressant pills. I was taking sleeping pills. I, uh, I was irritable, frustrated. I didn't want to go to the office. But again, that's not the solution. So then I did talk to the other seniors, other supervisors. I went ahead. I took some drastic steps. I changed my department. I did things which I was not, because as I said, beyond a certain point, I said enough is enough. And I did confronted that person. We had a very heated argument one day, and I said, this is it. Cannot handle it more. So, uh, but before that, I was pretty docile. I was very, very docile. But I think so it's a cliche, but I do believe the fact that every cloud has a silver lining. So what it actually brought out was the fact that I could open up, I could speak up. I knew what the toxic culture is. I will not get into the trap again, and it would never, hamper my growth or my mental status for sure. So all I'll say to people, if it is impacting you, if you're becoming thick-skinned and you think it's still okay, and if it works for you, it's okay. Because people are not there forever. They change. But if it's getting into your skin, then just take it as a warning sign and step back.
Yeah, and this you're right about. Sometimes courage means stepping back. It doesn't really
Yes,
mean fighting it out. It just means to leave the arena, which is what you did.
correct. I mean, ultimately, you're stressing yourself out. You're stressing yourself out. You're stressing your family, and for what? You have a lot of avenues available. It's the world out there waiting for you. World in there waiting for you. It's like in the same organization, I have different options and opportunities. So you have to look out for things if you, and trust me. I mean, I have had experiences. You think this could be the best thing happening to you right now. It's telling you something, you're learning something out of it. And it really helps. It helped me. So it actually helped me, to catapult back myself. It acted like a catapult for me. That time was tough times, but in retrospect, it was, and that shaking up and realization.
Mhm. No, that was really, really, well. I think that was very well spoken about, because that is something most people do not touch with a barge pole. They're like, go hush hush about it, don't talk about it.
You should talk about it. You should talk about it. So this was about mental stress and emotional stress, but I think especially women, they should talk about anything that is happening in the organization. And it's very, very important. It's not your fault.
Mm-hmm.
There are these toxic people at times make it make it in such a way that you become a victim, but they say that it's your fault, and you are just so trapped into this guilt cycle, or that self deficiency cycle, that you try to make up and try to impress these people. But
Yeah.
that there are times when you need to realize that it's not, it will never work, because it's not the work they're targeting, it's the person they're targeting. So
Yes, this is
it's
a very
important.
important distinction, that if someone's targeting you personally and not the work which you are doing, that means it's
Yeah,
just too toxic. It's not
it's too
about,
toxic. Yes.
and
And it's not even so this was an example which I gave from a professional front, but there are a lot of times it happens in a lot of houses, it happens in the personal front also,
Mhm.
you know, abusive relationship, abusive partners, but it's like Stockholm syndrome. You're stuck in it. You think there is no way. You fall in love with your situation because you think that's the only way. But there are other ways. It requires a little bit of courage, a lot at times, but it's important.
Thank you so much. It's just been wonderful chatting with you. Any last words
Yeah.
for our viewers before we sign off? I would love to hear.
So I so I would say that mental health is like your physical health. You have to work on it a lot of times. It's not it's like you should keep your body in shape. You work for it. You have to keep your mental health shape. For that, you have to make yourself a priority. You have to do something which you enjoy. You have to try and find your ikigai. After all, there is one life, and we need to make best out of it.
Perfect.
So
Thank you so much, Swati. It's indeed been a pleasure chatting with you.
it was lovely talking to you, Pragati. It was wonderful, as always.